kick us all in the butt a little bit. All right, and welcome everyone to our second week of The Goal Getter. I know we just say goal getter, but The Goal Getter, because it's you and you and you and all of us here together. So I am here today with Crown Diamond, Tracy Nielsen, and my name is Ashley. If I've not yet met you, that's not the right grammar. It's fine. So I love doing these because we get to get together and truly connect in different ways, because when we're on Zoom, we get to see each other, we get to learn something. So we are going to have a kind of an open time towards the end where we can chat and ask questions. But really our purpose today is to connect, to talk about what we're doing this week, what our big focuses are. I'm going to give you some calls to action around that. And then we're going to do a teaching. I would say way more of a workshop style teaching. We're going to have some active parts in it about our hero products. So the products that, let's put it this way, the products that we know and love ourselves, and that we know and love enough to share, and share with testimonials and with calls to action. I'm always like, these aren't your top 5 favorite products. These are way more than that. So we're going to talk about that today. My fabulous friend, Nicole Perez, shared with us on another call a great resource that I'm going to share with you guys about or around this topic. This is something you want to do every 3 to 6 months, because here's the thing. What shines in my life and what is giving me huge world-changing, life-changing testimonials, it actually changes. So this summer, we haven't used as much of the insect repellent as we did last summer or the summer before. And that would have been one of my top 5 in the summer, because we were using it constantly. I guess just where we were traveling, what we were doing, we were using the wipes constantly. This summer, we've really been lucky that we haven't had to use it a ton. So I don't have that big testimonial like I would necessarily at the top of my head. I still have it, but it's not the top of my head. So hopefully that'll give you a little bit to look forward to as we go down our call. And what to expect too is, guys, we always have an hour budgeted, but if we are short, that is absolutely fine. What I will promise you is that we won't go long. So hold tight, at least 30 minutes, not more than an hour, and we will be here hanging out together. So what in the world do you do when you wake up on Monday morning and you know it's your work week? And what do you do when you don't know what to do? That is where I like to start these fun, you always hear the person talking is like, I'm gonna do this and this is the report I run, this is how it goes, how many people. And honestly, I always feel like when I'm on the receiving end of that, I'm like, they are such a productive human and I suck. And that's usually what I feel like, because I don't always know what I even do during the day. Is anybody like me? Like, I don't actually really know what I do during the day. Like, I know that what I mean is not being lazy. I'm saying I end up doing so many things that it's not always in my head what I actually did, because I got up and just started doing them. Our babysitter got to my house and she asked me, she was like, did y'all mop did you mop the floors? And seems like lots of stuff. And I had to literally sit there. I was like, oh, we did mop the floors and clean the bathrooms downstairs, at 7 a.m. That was so long ago. I forgot. Thank you. So just that kind of stuff in my business that happens to me. And I'm sure it happens to some of you too, where I, in most scenarios, forget what I did that's positive. Like, I will forget that I even made the event already. And I'm like, yes, because I created it real fast and then went to the next thing. But what happens too for me is if I'm not focused enough, I will forget that I didn't do things. Anybody else on that one? I had a girl today message me after I did not get back to her. And she said, you did not get back to me. And I said, I did not get back to you. I'm so sorry, because the thing is, I read her message and in my head, I responded right away, but I didn't. I didn't. So what I want us to do as a very simple task today is I want us to practice thoroughness. And that's so boring. But being thorough means when I say, I want you to run a report with everyone who's placed an order in your team since the 1st, it means you don't look at it, but we're going to look at the report and everyone who placed an ER order since the 1st of the month, it's already placed, done, right? You're going to send August is an amazing month. I'm so excited to hear what your favorite product is for your order. Thank you for your order this month. And that's it. You're not going to give them, that's not your call to action is sending the email that says thank you. You're not giving them a next call to action, because what you don't want to do is say thank you. And did you know that you can get the promos twice? I mean, just because there's a very big difference that I've learned in life. Saying thank you, that being the sole purpose, is very different than thanks for being a valued customer. Did you see our class schedule for the month? That's great. That's a different kind of email, but I meant just a genuine, thank you for your order. The reason you're gonna do that, I'm sorry, subscribe to save. I still say ER. Someone should smack me. It's terrible. I can't. Or like, I don't know that I can actually fix that. Because in my head, I'm like, I tell myself what it is, but it just, the language creeps back up. So you want to say, thank you for your order. And the reason you want that to look different is when you send anyone who placed a shop order, what you do want to do is, thank you for your order. Did you know that we have a subscribe to save program? You don't ask them to get on it. You make them curious. You ask them a question. Did you know? Because you know what? They might not know. Did you know that we have a subscribe to save order? Either a couple bullet points about that. I mean, or there's a link. I know I have a video, Tracy has a video, or a link to a video, or a link to, if you have a team that you can, it's scalable for you to know if they're in a Facebook group or not, you could send a link to a Facebook group if it's scalable for you. What I mean is if you're sending this email to 20 people, you probably know them. If you're sending this email to 1,000 people, let's assume you don't actually know the people you're sending it to, right? So remember the scalable thing, right? We're all climbing mountains in our business. They're all different. They're all to scale differently for different seasons for each of us. So that's really something I want to encourage you to do because it's so simple. It's so simple, but it's going to be something that goes on your done list that had purpose because you added value to people that gave you value because they increased your paycheck. Like, this is not a practice. And Tracy, feel free to jump in. I use VO for all of my emails. Keely, I just don't import. I have no, my brain capacity to do that. I'm not able to do that. I'll just go ahead and say it like that. It's not that I don't want to. I'm like, literally, nothing about it. I've spent so much time like looking up templates to use and creating. I mean, I remember we used that something monkey or whatever. Like I try to do all this stuff, but at the end of the day, I just want to say thank you. Or I just want to tell people they're missing a paycheck. Like I very much use email for functionality where it's informational delivery. I don't expect a conversation back. I do want to elicit a response. So hopefully that helps you if you're not using email. I use it a lot, but it's for those reasons. It's not to create relational connection. That would be me in Messenger or PB. It's really not relational connection. It's for me to elicit a response back if there's information they need to send back to me, or to deliver information that they save or star in their inbox. So that is the way in which I tend to use email. So for like this simple thing, I would run through the VO. Tracy, I was like, it's really funny. I feel like Tracy and I both use email, which is interesting because she is way smarter than me at all of things. But I feel like we both used email pretty consistently in the same way, if that makes sense. Pretty consistently in the same way. And it gets good responses. I've always had good response rates, especially from people that don't know me. Because on PB, I don't always get responses from the people that don't know me. Because I mean, I am up in their phone, like a literal invasion of their space, which is good for a lot of people. But some people, they're just not going to respond that way. And then if I want to create relational connection, I do a lot of direct messaging on Instagram or Facebook, voice memos, or my real phone number. People I enrolled know my real phone number, right? Like, that might sound funny, but I want you all to think about that. If they're your friends, your family, they're probably going to text you on your number, and you never need to actually think about getting PP until you can't scale that real number output. I mean, we didn't get that. We did not get text messaging capability until Tracy, you were a platinum. I was a gold. I mean, I don't even know. It was like and I didn't even use it. Like it overwhelmed me so much that I didn't even really use it. So Amber, ideally, I have a very wise friend that's an RCD, Erin Rogers, and she sends them every day. And she does. And I believe her because it's like one of her 5 tasks she does every day. So I have gotten myself to a place where I'm doing it just personally enrolled, but there was one month I did it with 3 different legs of my team, and then I forgot the next month. So, I'm telling y'all, I'm working on it, but I try to do this and ER errors at least 3 times a month. So it's up to you how that would work for you, but I don't want to be the person that waits till the end of the month and then catches people who had an error on like the 3rd. It's embarrassing. Like it's embarrassing to me, or it makes me feel like I just totally misstepped there. Same thing if you welcome new members. If you're someone that does that globally for your team, I would suggest not waiting till the end of the month because you missed like this whole month where they're excited and I'm capturing them and making sure they're plugged into your resources. So whatever you do that works for you is a good system. And I'm saying that because I don't want you to think. So for me, when I say every day, I will do it for 5 days and then I'll never do it again. And so if you can do every day, do every day. If you can do every week, do every week. If you need a specific day of the week to do this stuff, do that. I think it depends on the structure of your life and how that flows for you. I tend to do well with structured work times around when I have a Zoom. So I don't know if you're like me, but Mondays, like after this, or if it's at 9 p.m., it'll be before. Like I tend to do a lot of structured work around when I have structured work already happening. So just think about how you operate best, because this is all stuff I do from a computer, right? Not from my phone. So anytime I'm like out and about and working, very different than at a computer structured work. Of course she does. Did y'all read that? Tracy literally schedules it. Of course you do. You know, I have goals in my life. That's one of them. You have to schedule. Okay. So I don't schedule it, but I for sure am like, you can't, I'm very much like, oh, you can't do this until you do these things. I'm like that with my kids, probably terrifying, but I'm like that with myself a lot of times. Like you can't leave. I don't like sitting. Like you can't leave here until you run all these reports, respond to every email in your inbox, and also call these two people. And so I will die because 2 hours later, I'll want to get up and move around and I won't let myself leave where I am. So that's, someone taught me recently that I should just say, instead of sounding negative, I should just say I'm a very disciplined person, but I might not organize my time in a blocked way. I'm like, that's a better way of saying it. But I do like trap myself into everything I don't like. Like I am the person that puts my workout clothes, so I step on them. Like I physically, if I step out of my bed, I'm like on my shoes so that I can't, so that my brain is like, you're going to go work out. At night, the foam roller I use before I go to bed, the biomat, like all of it is biomat. Like I would have to physically move that crap to not use it, if that makes sense. So just something to think about. Supplements, I lay them on the counter the night before in a pile because I'm annoyed at myself. If there's a pile of supplements, I'm going to take them, or people can't eat breakfast. Like so that's kind of, probably too much insights into, there's Motivation Monday for y'all. We're all different. We all motivate ourselves differently to do things, but think about that too, how it'll work for you. So that's your first thing for what to do to work this week, is just send some thank yous and have some fun with it. If you have one person on your team that ordered, here's the thing. Maybe you send them like a video that how fun would that be? Maybe you make a video and you're like, thank you so much for your order, Ashley. I want you to know that I'm growing a small business that's supporting my family, and this is making a difference in your health and making a difference in my family. Like if I got a video from someone, I would be like, oh my gosh, they love me. Because not everybody always wants a phone call, but a lot of people like personalized things. So again, if you are finding that you don't have a lot of people to do this with, use the resources you have and the time you have to touch and love, maybe not touch, to touch, to touch as in their heart, and love the people that are already on your team. So the second kind of report that I want you to do is, this is every week, guys. And last week, Rachel taught us all about zero PV members. So that is ongoing and that's constant. So what do you need to do? Run that report. And then what do you need to do? Watch the video from last week and use the strategy she suggested to start reaching out to people. All right. Fun. Here's the third piece of that, as in things you can do today and every day this week. This is one of my favorites, but not always easy. Since our website changed, and if you're international, please, a few of you on here, do not think that this doesn't include you. Still do the same thing that you would have done before, but I'm saying this to a lot of us are experiencing a change, as in things have changed and we're like, are excited about it, but we have a hard time talking about it because it's confusing for a lot of us still. I mean, for me, I know I'm like, you can buy a kit, but you don't have to. Here's a custom bundle, but you don't have to get all of it. Some of it can be on a subscribe order and some can be shop only. Like I sent a message to someone yesterday and I'm like, like, it seems simpler in my head, but I'm like, that was so overwhelming. Because basically what I just sent her is, here's 18 options. Because option one was like $700 because it was all the things she wanted. And she kind of needs starter kits too, because she needs oils. So it felt like a lot because it was that customized bundle link. But then if I didn't send her the bundle link, I felt like it was confusing because it's just a free for all shopping experience where I'm like, buy the cough drops or buy the laundry soap, buy the 64-ounce steam spray. It just felt like, confusing. So this is my suggestion. I'm saying suggestion because for some of y'all, this might take you all day. For some of you, it might take you 2 seconds. You are going to tell 3 people every day this week. So that's 21 people in the next 7 days. You're going to tell them how to get started with Young Living. Not random people, but these are like people that maybe have gone inactive, people that maybe are prospects, but I'm not saying you're going to start this like, all of the conversations we always talk about, hey, how are you? And you're starting this relational connection. No, I'm literally saying whatever you have to do to get to the point of every day being 3 people that you're like, did you know that we have a new way of getting started? There's different options. I'd love to talk to you about it. I think you could really benefit from the skincare specifically, or I think you could really benefit from the Thieves line, whatever it is. But I want you to tell them, we now have an open door to get started. So every day, it shouldn't be hard to do that with 3 people. That's something I did for the first 2 years of my business, and we only had a kit option to get started. But some days, guys, that would mean me working like 7 hours to find 3 people to talk to because I'd already messaged everyone who was warm. So I would sometimes go to a park or a grocery store and wait and meet them. But we don't have to do that anymore. We now can just think about people in our lives that could benefit from specific products. And we just have to tell them, because you're not messaging them, here's a link, buy this. But I was looking at your post yesterday and you asked all about natural skincare. It's really easy to get started with our skincare. And you're in maybe a voice memo. I can send you some custom bundles depending on what you're really looking for, but I know you would love them. So just this kind of language and use your own words. But for me, I really like to see the needs of people on their storefront, which is their Facebook page or Instagram, because they show you their needs. If they're stressed out mom, if they have a newborn, if they have a kid in college, if their house is always dirty and they're talking about it, if they're always like having a hard time cooking meal, whatever it is, you find that. You find that need and you fill it. But we get to be much more proactive with how our website works now. We get to be much more proactive because we can not feel guilty that people can unlock a 24% discount at 100 PV. And that's the same as they would with a kit. So if your mind is still trying to wrap around that, because I know mine is, like, I think it has, and then I'm like, oh, but the kit's a value. Like, I just do this thing back and forth. So please, let's all work together and report our results next Monday night. You're 3 people a day, for real, 21 people total. So don't be an overachiever and talk to 21 today, because then you will not be consistent. It will not be in your brain that that's an everyday task. So prospecting has to be every day. And people always ask me how that works. And I feel like I hesitate to say what I just said because it sounds so like harsh, but that is what you have to do to grow your business. You have to enroll people. I guess we don't enroll them anymore. You have to share with people and earn money from those people and get those people interested in also building a business because they love the product. So we're creating lovers of our product that we then can introduce to the business, and we can help them also create more lovers of the product. Was that a lot? You have too much homework? Yes, Wendy, I love that. Kids will help us all the time with prospecting. If we let our kids, and mind you, mine are like, oh, did you know Miss Lindsay at church yesterday had a headache? I didn't have any peppermint. Like, just, that happens, and we have to be in tune with them. So I'm like loving that your daughter said that. All right. So now we're going to go into our fun segment about hero products. Actually, before that, Tracy, do you want to chime in with anything?
No, I was just going to say, I think this is so good and sort of like looking at this, I don't know, this is how my brain works. Although for someone else, if you hear systematize, right, you might be like running for the hills. But I sort of love that this is sort of a system that you can customize based on your own work needs, right? Like Hannah's saying, when the babysitter's there, she's like full on focused. I remember having those days of like, babysitter's here, I gotta go, I'm going to Starbucks and I'm going to do all these things. And I was the most productive person because I knew I had very limited time. Sometimes when we have time, right, it's like, oh, I'll get to it, and you're pokey. So first of all, I just want to say congrats to you for being here on this, because this is on the Go Getter Monday. This is focused time to work together, to get inspired, to, work on these skills of like having this system. And I love what Ashley said. I hope you guys wrote this down, right? So your 0 PV, following up with your members on subscribe to save, making sure that you're welcoming your new people, making sure that you're prospecting 3 times a day. And I'm just going to tell you right now, okay, Crown Diamond here, I still use email from the virtual office. There's literally all kinds of tools and technology at my fingertips. I still use the email from the virtual office because you know what? I don't need to work, just like what Ashley said, I don't need to worry about, did I upload the list on this email marketing system? Like, I don't need to worry about any of that. And I know I've heard this from several of you before. When you're sending an email through the virtual office right now, hopefully someday in the future, we can include images. I've heard this from many of you. I can only do text-based emails. What a bummer. I would love to be able to send an image. Let me just tell you, text-based emails actually convert very well. As someone who does email marketing for a living, it actually converts very well, but you need to just think about right? Like if you were going to get a text, do you want this long text like this long? That's going to be very hard to read. Most people are reading their emails on their phones. So how can you write that email in a way that grabs their attention? I would play with subject lines. So I don't know if this is very helpful to you, but it could be like, did you see this today? ... Like I will put very like, subject lines that really make people curious. So play with your subject lines. If you get a lot more response on one, then that's kind of an indication for you to go, okay, that worked. What else can I say that's similar to that? But I'm going to tell you, if you say something like this, August newsletter, right? There's no context to like who the company is, what's in the newsletter. They'll probably be like, scroll, delete, right? Move on. But if you have something in there that kind of makes them curious, also, I really love to use emojis in the actual text or in the actual email itself and the subject line. So I don't know if this is going to help you, but I will kind of play around with things. So usually for my people who are about to go inactive, what I put in there will be like, did you forget something? Right? And ... I mean, I'm just telling you, like things like this, right, are going to be ways that it's going to entice them to click through. And I want you to even think of the emails that you get. What entices you to click through? You probably get emails from all kinds of different stores, retailers, right? What entices you to click through without even like looking at the message itself? Like, what are the subject lines say? And just kind of think, how can I borrow from this? Something else that I feel like we've talked about before, but it's been a while. Think about magazine headlines. 7 reasons why. 7 favorite things, right? Like think about what do magazine headlines say? And maybe those are some things that you can also put in your headlines. But I hope you guys are writing this down of things that you could be doing, but please leverage the virtual office email. I just think it's such a great tool. You don't need to keep up with the email list. It's super easy to use. We'd be happy to do a separate tutorial on how to run a report, like showing you how to do that. I'm happy to do that. And then like how to actually send the email. It's really, really easy. But so thankful for Ashley to be leading in this next portion of the business training.
Awesome. So as we jump into this, really this could be hours of training, but what we're going to do today is we're going to get it so in our minds, we all can at least begin to focus on these products. Actually, really fun. I have to say this because I just saw Wendy's comment. No one's ever taught me because the report thing, no one ever like has taught me, or I'm sure Tracy, because for us, I think it was the clicking down on that and doing it before there was PB. And it sounds really weird, but the reports, I mean, I don't really create custom. I do a lot of what's already in there. So I would wait for Tracy to do the tutorial, but don't wait to run that report of your ER and send the email to them. I am happy to message anyone to show you how to do that. If you don't know how, it literally is on there, and then you can sort by date. And I am not great at anything reports or spreadsheets, but that makes it so easy to me because then I just click send message to report, and it really, really, really is helpful. Yeah, just got in there and played around. Yes, because I know there's lots of stuff in VO I don't always know about, but that feature is something I love to use regularly. So let's talk about hero products. And this is an area I love to talk about because all of us have different ones. So that's the first part of this. Get out of your mind that you need to have something that you're like, I need to talk about toothpaste because I use it every day. Okay, great. Maybe you do, but maybe you don't. Maybe you don't. Deep in my heart, I know that each of you has a life-changing, I didn't say life-saving, make a difference between that. Lots of people are like, I don't have some big life-altering testimonial. That doesn't matter. It's life-changing because it helped you get rid of a toxin in one area or get rid of this one issue. It doesn't have to be some big crazy testimonial that maybe someone else has. Don't compare it. It could literally be that you had a kid that would wake up multiple times a week during the night, maybe not even every night, and it was annoying to you. Like it couldn't, not even that they had a problem or a medical issue, it was just like too much and you were tired and your kid slept with this product. It could also be you were in debilitating pain and couldn't walk, and then you use these products and you can. Like they're all different for each of us. You could have been addicted to candles and you got a diffuser, and here's the combo that was amazing for you. You could have been the cleanest person in the world and using lemon instead of lemons in your water saved you money in your treated enamel. Like, do you understand what I mean about this not being, we cannot judge our story based on comparing it to someone else's. Because we aren't going to have the same stories. We're not. Your story might be that you never knew that toxins affected you until you got them out of your home and you started diffusing. Then you walked into a department store and you smelled perfume and you got a headache. And maybe that sounds, you're like, that sounds not that exciting. Yes, it is. Because somebody on there is like, dude, I wonder if it affects me too. I use Bath and Body Works all day, every day. And maybe if I used oils, I would see that they were, there's a light bulb for all of us. Maybe it's as simple as someone struggling with their skin and you tell them you like the way your skin looks with daily use of frankincense. So that I didn't even say that. That to me is one that gets so much traction for people because not everyone is sick or not everyone is below this wellness line that we've created. A lot of people want to just be a better version of where they are now and not really change all their circumstances. So think about that. We're going to go through a little bit of who you're speaking to, but that part always trips people up when they go through these hero products, because maybe you're just waiting for this one product that's going to rescue you from whatever issue it is. But that might not be why you're not able to share right now. It might just be that you're not seeing the benefits you've gotten from these small everyday changes. So small everyday changes are what makes us effective in creating influence over others. If you have one life-giving testimonial and maybe you had cancer, maybe you had some chronic illness, 99% of people who watch your story are not going to resonate with that because they don't have that same background. So remember, we're coming from a place of serving people with products that are able to be used by your ideal client or avatar that we'll mention briefly in here, but they're also versatile products. Like my testimonial with Valor is awesome, but everyone can use Valor. Like people are going to resonate because more people need confidence. And a lot of people need help with public speaking. And a lot of people have fear. And a lot of people also have back pain and go to a chiropractor and use it to hold adjustments. You understand there's versatility, even if your story doesn't contain the versatile uses of the oil. When you have that one-on-one conversation, that's when it becomes versatile and you're like resonating with that person's needs because they read or heard your story. So we build everything in our business structured really around a pyramid that we all use. Not a pyramid as in our payment plan or a business model, but we have something called the wellness triangle, where the bulk of what we all use, as in, longtime product users, we're going to use mostly that bottom base thing is going to be our supplements, our consumables, things that every month we're buying to maintain vibrant health and wellness for our families. So that bulk of things is like today, I've washed clothes with laundry soap. I have brushed my teeth. I washed my face with the art cleanser. I used frankincense and tea tree on a spot on my face. I'm just thinking about that. That's not in that list, but do you understand what I'm saying about what I used? Oh, I used the dish soap. I used Thieves Cleaner and the Thieves Soft Scrub. What else did I use? I mopped with Thieves Cleaner. I took BLM and Agiles and Super Bee and Ninja Red, and I had a Nitro. So just go through this a little bit with me. Write in the compliments. What am I saying? Write in the comments. What are some things you've used already today? Like maybe even you just woke up in the past hour. What are things you've already used today? And you might not be in this mindset yet, but the bulk of what you use that's life-changing is going to be these everyday supplements. Sulfurzyme, couldn't live without it. I didn't take it yet today. It wasn't in my supplement pile. It was all the yellow pills, I felt like. Sulfurzyme and cortisone didn't make it on there. Doing around a cortisone now. If anybody's ever done that, it's amazing. Yep, toothpaste, laundry soap, Ninja, Mindwise, art cleanser. I've used the Beauty Boost too. There we go. Lime oil, peace and calming toothpaste, Thieves toothpaste, deodorant, Essence Plus. I've used that too, and Indiflex. So really what I love about this is we're talking that really is going to be our supplements and our everyday consumables, which we're literally talking about. Like I put laundry soap in that. I don't know, maybe you don't, but there's not a direct line on this pyramid. But for me, I think of things that are like everyday part of my life. So the next one, we really have this ditch and switch thing, which it is for me, like that's skincare and that's makeup. That's like all the Kid Sense products my kids use. And that is the place that is, I always say that's a fun place to be in because people usually like a certain pocket of that. Like they want hair care or they want all their bathroom stuff or they want all the outside stuff. So they want the like mineral sunscreen and the bug spray and also some citronella. Like there's really these pockets that you can play with a lot in there. Okay. Then here we go. The top of this pyramid is like my favorite oils, transformation, believe, joy. I love them. Here's the thing. I don't consume a bottle of them every month. And I also, even though I don't want to live without them, I totally could. And that might sound weird because you're like, did she say she could do without oils? I'm not saying it in a way that is negative, but think about your actual body functions. Most of my body functions and organ systems and cells all the way down to that level are affected by the products I'm consuming and as a supplementation basis. And then I'm touching all those other ones, that middle one. And then up at the top, there's these oils that they will change your life, but you better get your nutrition straight and your gut straight. And you better get your like teeth straight. Like you better get all this stuff together or you're not going to benefit from that huge amount of oils we have as in a wealth of products to choose from if you don't really have those foundational parts of your life together. So yes, think about your subscribe to save order. So I have friends that on subscribe to save, they have like, every month they have like thieves and lemon. They don't have a life-changing testimonial. They don't. Actually, that wouldn't even work. Let's do it. Thieves and lavender equals over 50. I'm saying that to y'all because I have friends that have like such few things on there and that's fine, but they're not going to experience this lifestyle change. Lifestyle change comes from the bulk of that bottom section of that pyramid being in your cart every month. Because if it's in your cart, you better be using it. You're also not a hoarder of products. So don't tell me in the comments if you are. Because people that are like, I have 8 boxes of Master Formula, I'm like, we can't be friends anymore. I never have extra of things. I consume so much stuff every month. My whole family does that. We really don't have like a back stock we don't have a huge personal stash. I just buy things and we use them and I replace them. But I try to live with faith over fear in that I'm not like a 20 bottles of laundry soap hoarder. I just do it the best I can and we use it as much as possible. Same with my oils. Actually, I don't save things that I'm like, one day I'll use this bottle of rose. No, like I use the oils I have and I benefit from them today. So with all that being said, there's an activity that I'm just going to abbreviate because Nicole teaches it so well, but it's a lot of brain capacity and it takes a lot of time for you to do this all like completely thoroughly. You need to do it multiple times and really figure out in your head what you use every single day. But now that we know these 3 different categories, it's going to be fun. You ready? 3 different categories. At the bottom of the pyramid, so it's like supplements, 30-day consumables. We got the middle one, which is like ditch and switch. And then we have like these products that are oils. And something else that could go up there, guys, is like, I would even put, and this might sound simple, but I would put bath bombs in there. Like I would put luxury with the oil at the top of the pyramid, it's oils and like luxury items. What I mean by that is like no one in my family notices that we don't have bath bombs. They only use them if they're there. No one uses, we've bought the body cream before and tried it. I've never had it regularly stocked in my house because we bought it and tried it and okay, it's not there anymore. We don't go back and say, oh, we're all missing it. Or like the seasonal products like from our holiday catalog, the snowflake evergreen bath bomb, we bought one and used it and then it was gone. So it's like your specialty products. So also like those foundation products, those special things that come around just for convention, they're kind of up at the top of that pyramid, which all of us love to talk about them. Luscious Lemon, guys, is amazing to talk about. It's like 30 something PV. So every month if someone loves Luscious Lemon, you just built yourself a lower than subscribe to save order if that's the only product that you're talking about over and over and over, especially if you're not even talking about health benefits and you're just talking about how it smells. Again, not bad, but not going to really resonate with people in a way that they're going to feel compelled to make an order. So what I want you to do is write down in that category of like the bottom pyramid, what do you use every day? Yeah, Tracy, I like to use my points to try new things too, or I laugh because sometimes I run out of stuff that just makes me feel ridiculous. Like sometimes we don't have toothpaste or shampoo in my house and it feels ridiculous. I'm like, how did I let that happen? So then I order, that's when I go through, and it's usually like towards the end of the month and I'm like ordering a bunch of like multiple. Okay. Now in the middle, what are some things in the middle that you currently use? And a fun fact to know too is as you're writing down that middle section, there's things in that middle section I've only ever bought once, like a lot of them. Even in there, things like the satin mint facial scrub as a low price point, it's fabulous. I don't always use it multiple times a week. Sorry. Charcoal face mask. If someone buys it and uses it once a month, they could place a 39 PV order for a year. I mean, I want you to start thinking a little bit about what I'm saying to y'all. What we talk about matters because people will buy what they see you using. And this is like a slap in the face for me because honestly, I post about fun stuff all the time. Fun. Like we're at our party doing this or I'm diffusing this. So this is hard. Then finally your oils at the top. And this would be like, I literally diffuse Citrus Fresh every day. I love it. I cannot build a business off of diffusing Citrus Fresh. People place one order for like 6 bottles in the year. And they're like, yay. And they diffuse it and that's all they use. I have one friend, she diffuses lavender at night. And I'm pretty sure that's what she does every year. Just buys like 5 bottles of lavender once to stay active, which is that's not our ideal, right, member of our community. Amber, you told me months ago you hadn't started any supplements yet. So I am calling you out and telling you you have to do them so you can share them with people. Seriously, because it will change your business because you will be changed because they're amazing for your body. And it will be worth it because you'll have more energy, you'll feel better, you'll be able to share more. I mean, you're going to notice a huge difference. Okay, so after you've kind of written these down, and I'm kind of, even when I was trying to tell y'all things I've used this morning, I left stuff out. So now you're going to go through and you're going to make a little star by the ones that you have a story with. You know, maybe you don't have a story. Like I don't have a dish soap story, but I mean, I could make one up, but that's not what we're saying here. Like I use dish soap every day. But I don't have a story about it. Like I don't have a story about how I love Dawn and I only believe that Dawn could degrease things. Then one day I read that there was, 5 different dyes in the back. Like I don't have that with that product. Same with like Tracy just said, the core 4. I don't have an essential zyme story. Other people do that I share theirs, but I don't have one. So I wouldn't put a star by that because I might take stuff, but that doesn't mean I have a story with it. Like if Rachel was on here, she always says she doesn't have pain. So like she doesn't have a pain story. So she's like, I take BLMs, yay. Like she's like, I take it, great. So stuff I have a story with is the stuff that has a star. So I would have Agilis, BLM, Sulfurzyme, Super B. Those have stars for me. But a lot of the other supplements don't. Super C is great. Super D is great. They taste good. They're great. But I don't have I'm not going to share all the time about them unless it's in context of like, here's a wellness regimen. Awesome, Hannah. Once you have those things, talk and save the highlights if you share on IG. You've seen great growth from that. So now we have these products that we have stories with and we use. Now, are y'all ready for the fun? I'm gonna pick 5. And you might not be able to do it on this call. Like I can't. I don't really have my 5 right now. I had my 5 last time we did this, and now I'm like, they're gonna be different. So this is hard for most of us because what we don't want to do is they can't all be oils because they need to reflect the pyramid. You're not going to want to share about 5 oils. You're going to want to have products. So now you're going to underline or highlight depending on what kind of thing you have in your hand. You love them, you use them, you have a story with them. And there are 5 things you believe with all of your heart that your ideal client avatar, it could be emoji, whatever you want to call that person, that when you speak to your audience, which is on, through your storefront. So if it's in person, Facebook, Instagram, that the person you're speaking to, would they benefit from your story and from this product? So I don't speak to moms of babies very much anymore. I mean, I do in person, but I meant as in that's not who I picture a lot when I write. But if I was, my products would be a little different than if I'm speaking to someone who feels like they're aging and they want to focus on that. So just think about that a little bit. And I also want to talk to people who already are interested in or on a fitness journey. Just the way that I operate, I don't speak to people that are like, hey, this is something that I struggle with. Here's what I'm using to motivate me to want to move more. I know it might sound weird, but I want you to think about it. You got to think about who you're talking to, because I would choose different things. Okay. I do love, and I know I'm keep talking about, I want you to keep thinking. I love thieves. I talk about thieves products a lot. I don't have a compelling testimony outside of the level of sickness my family's experienced, which is not a lot, but we weren't sick before. Maybe is that a good way of saying it? Our story sounds amazing because I have lots of kids and everyone's healthy all the time. But we don't have a like April Pointer story about how sick her family was. I don't have a before with that. So it's not what I would say are the 5 hero products for me, even though they're a staple and there's something I'll tell everyone to have. I hope this is helping. I'm really trying to be clear because I think this can be a confusing point for most people. Yeah. So when Tracy talks about gut health, my stories that I've experienced right before my eyes are with my mother-in-law and my youngest son. So I share those and they're amazing and I help people all the time. But I don't personally have a experience to speak from. So they're not what I would choose to share about the most. I know I keep saying the same thing over again, but I really want you to think about that. Even my husband with PTSD, I do have stories. I will say I don't pick the same things that I personally share about as much as when I talk about him and I share those. So we're all different, but just think about that because I don't benefit as much from the same things he did in his journey. So it's easy for me to share his story, but it's not the same as me saying every single day I put Endoflex over my thyroid. I don't know what it is, but my levels have been completely normal for the past 2 years and all of my hormones are, and it actually, that's the only product I can think about that I've used every single day that could have helped me stay that way. And so for you should use Endoflex. It's great for adrenal support, even in your baby, all the way up to the last day we breathe on this earth. So it is, yeah, that was a really simple way of sharing, but I meant do you understand? It doesn't always have to be some crazy story, but it can be, I don't know. Do you know that language is really great for people, it connects to them. I don't know if this would help you, but here's how it's helped me. I don't know if Predestined Plus would help you, but I didn't have periods for 9 years and I started taking it. And after 6 weeks I did. So I don't know if that's helpful for you, but it definitely is helpful for me and for my life and every day moving forward. Right. So just think about it. I don't know if you have any chronic pain. I have some scoliosis, a lot of IT issues, and just the combination of these 3 products, FBLM, Sulfurzyme, and Agiles, has made my joint mobility increase, my pain decreased, and it's really enhanced the quality of life for me and my family. So I need to now, I'm feel so convicted. I'm I need to just share all that stuff. Think about it. I do also think a lot of us, the key to getting the family on board is to get the mom on board, because then she'll get the spouse on board and they'll use it on their kids. I actually will tell you, people who buy it just to use on their kids end up falling off. because they buy all the kid stuff. And then guess what? They're not every month going to buy kids. They're not going to buy Mighty Bites and the toothpaste. They're just not. They're going to want to have it more in their home than that. So I don't know if that's helpful or unhelpful, but I will say that I found much more success getting the adult, women are the health decision makers in the home. So you need to get her on board. If people buy this kit, or the kit, geez, I keep saying it. People buy these products for someone else a lot of times, and they end up missing the benefit because they don't use it themselves. They're not using whatever it is on themselves. They buy Ningxia Red, and they're like, my husband needs it. Okay. You let me know what your life is like after using it for 30 days and stopping. All right, Tracy, what do you want to add to this? Lots of value, I'm sure, but I know this is all over the place, but I think it'll help a lot of us this week and for the rest of our businesses.
Yeah, you've just done such an amazing job honing in on the hero products. And I think a lot of people are it's cranking in their brain now of like, oh, who am I talking to? Right. And how can I share those hero products in a way, right, that targets that audience? So I want you to think about, if your social media is the way that you're sharing, right, how are you talking about that? Of the people who are friends with you, of the people who are following you, right? They follow you for a reason. They're friends with you for a reason. What are the things that you're sharing? I feel like you just made a huge connect for people, or maybe they were like, I don't know what to talk about. So I love that you did that. And I think that's so clever of like, first pick your 5. Like pick your 5 and get good at sharing that. And, honestly, for me over time, I go through seasons as well, right? So like, fall and winter, I might tend to focus a little bit more on like immune support, because that's the season that I'm personally in. And I notice that like of the people who are following me or who I'm friends with, those are their concerns as well. When summer is coming up, what are the concerns, right? How can you sort of, change out your products a little bit? Maybe it's your sunscreen, it's weight loss, right? It's Ningxia Red, it's all of these different things. So, I think there's so much to be said for like, yes, get really good at your 5 hero products and like practice sharing it and sharing those stories. And I will tell you, I just had a reminder the other day. Sometimes I feel like, am I sharing too much? I feel like I'm always talking about it. And someone just the other day was like, oh, can you tell me more? And it was just such a great reminder that we think we're sharing all the time, but not everybody sees the things that we're posting, right? Not everybody is seeing. We sort of think we're the star of the show. We're posting all the time, but we have friends and family and other followers who are busy. They don't see all of our content. So the repetition is good, but sometimes I think it's also like sharing the story in a different way. Like I could tell you my skin story in probably 15 different ways, right? I've dealt with acne, aging skin. I've got melasma. We spend a lot of time in the sun. I've had skin issues due to like autoimmune issues. I mean, it's just, I can cut and dice, the stories in so many different ways for different seasons. It's just like our pain and gut story. We've got so many different stories on it. And so I think it's just a matter of like, yes, narrow down your 5, get really good and share it. And then, start working, like Ashley said, right, on like finding other products that you can talk about as well, because you're going to have friends, maybe they don't have a gut issue. Maybe they don't have a pain issue. So if you're only talking about those things, right, they might go, well, I don't know if that's for me because I'm not dealing with that. But one day you start talking about these household cleaner and how it's the best thing since sliced bread, right? You start talking about these other things and you might catch someone's attention. So I love this idea of like, start with your 5. And then from there, you get good at that, right? That's why we like to hone in on 5. And then after that, you start trying different products. What other stories do you have for these different products? And this is funny because I remember Ashley and I talked about this way in the beginning, right? Where Ashley, remind me, you got started with oils, not because you had like an immediate health need. It was just like, I think I just want to get started with it. So sometimes you may think, I don't have a life-changing story, right? I don't have a life-changing story of like, we were so sick and then thieves saved the day and now we're so much better. Maybe you didn't have that. And that's okay. Like your story is still worth sharing, right? Sometimes we'll think it's mundane, it's every day, it's not this huge sweeping, like, oh my goodness. but you just talking about why you did it, like what made you take that first step? Why did you do it? What made you curious? It could have just been, I saw a documentary on like chemicals in the home. I think stink is one, right? There's another one on beauty. I just wanted to give it a try. Or I had a friend and I could tell the difference in her and I was curious. You know, you could even share things like that and go, I tried this, I felt so much better. And we've done a whole segment on storytelling before. And here's something to kind of keep in mind, like, and really kind of think about this, okay? Companies spend billions of dollars, okay? They spend billions of dollars in marketing, but do you know where their focus is? It's on storytelling. So if you guys didn't know, I'm actually a digital marketer. That's what I used to do in the corporate world before I came over to Young Living. I still go to digital marketing conferences because I just love the field. And I was at one a couple of years ago, and all they were talking about was storytelling. I was like, wow, this is pretty crazy. These multinational, right, company conglomerates, they have billions of dollars at their disposal to do all kinds of different advertising. And the majority that they're focused on is storytelling. And one of my favorite examples of this is the Squatty Potty. Have you guys seen the Squatty Potty commercial? It's hilarious. If you've not seen it, go YouTube it. I mean, they don't really even get into like the specifics of like the studies and everything. I mean, it's just like comical. It's storytelling because the stories are what pull you in. Sometimes they're funny stories. Sometimes they're heartfelt stories. Sometimes they're just like, okay, this is just my experience, like a testimonial story, right? But the stories really pull you in. And there's kind of like a formula to storytelling. And in a nutshell, this is it. Okay. Are you guys ready for this? I paid like, I don't know, probably $1,000 to go to a digital marketing conference, and I'm going to boil it down for you, right? To tell you what is the art of storytelling. There's 3 parts. You ready? It's the before, it's the journey, and it's the after. You're welcome. I just saved you $1,000. But that's sort of like the structure of telling a good story. And so if there was anything that I would say to go out and start practicing, and maybe you write it down. So I am like I like to write, you know, and that's how I like visually, that's how I sort of absorb information and sort of retain it in my head. Sometimes I'll even practice it out loud, but that's it, right? If your story goes straight to what the after is like, but you didn't give any context on what life was like before, right? People won't get it. Or if you go straight into the before, but then never tell them about the journey, they'll be like, I don't know what's going on here. Like, you really do need to follow like that kind of, that process. The before, what was life like before you used this product, right? What was life like before you used Thieves Cleaner? What did you do? How did you clean your home, right? Like, how did you feel after you cleaned your home? I don't know about you, but I was using Clorox wipes. I hate to admit it, but I did. And I remember just feeling like my hands felt like, oh my goodness, like numb afterwards. It was hard to breathe, but I thought that was clean. And then what was the journey? The journey is like, what made you want to make the switch? Sometimes it's life-changing. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes you're just curious, right? Or you saw someone else do it. You saw a documentary, you read something online, and it made you curious, right? So that is part of your journey. Why do you want to share your journey? The thing is as you're sharing this with other people, right? Your journey is sort of like you're guiding them, right? You're like the guide. So sometimes what we think is we're the hero of the story, and we're not. We're not the hero. We're the guide. Okay. So you're not Luke Skywalker, you're Obi-Wan Kenobi. Okay. You're guiding. What your goal is with your story is the person you're talking to, you want them to envision themselves as the hero of the story. Does this make sense now? Right? So when you're sharing your cleaning story of why you wanted to ditch the Clorox wipes and go to Thieves Cleaner, right? You share your before, your journey, your after. The reason why it's so important to share that journey is you want that person to envision themselves in that role. And then they'll be thinking, well, I use that too. You know what? I've also thought, I feel crappy after I use those Clorox wipes, right? You want them to envision themselves in there. So you got to share the journey. And then in the journey, there's a pivot. there's some kind of pivot in that journey, right? Something that led you to change the way that you've been doing things. You've been doing this for years and years and years, and there's some pivot in your journey that caused you to look at something differently, to try something, right? And that pivot, right, is what gets people thinking like, you know what, I've thought about that too. I just didn't know where to go. And then you share the after. How do you feel now? How does it compare to the before, right? And what has it done for you? How has it changed you? And again, it doesn't necessarily need to be like some life-changing thing, right? It could just be, you know what? My nose doesn't feel numb after I clean anymore. Like my kids, I feel safe about them using Thieves Cleaner. I don't need to put the lock on the kitchen cabinet under the sink because I'm not scared about the chemicals anymore. That's definitely our story, right? So remember that, okay? It's the before, the journey, the after, and in the journey, there's some kind of pivot. But those are the things right there that are part of your story. And then you loop in, right, what Ashley's talking about with your 5 hero products. You do that, and I'm telling you, you are golden. I hope that helps. Ashley, did you want to talk about anything else before I go?
I think that we are 1 minute under an hour, which makes me super happy because we promised you we'd honor your time. And I feel like this was a lot. I could work for probably the next 10 hours after this call. Maybe I don't feel that way, but I'm like, I got a lot to do, and in a good way. It's been awesome. And I want to thank each one of you guys for showing up today for yourselves. Just like Tracy said at the beginning, it is just such a joy to work with people that want to work. And that might sound weird, but look at our society right now. Not a lot of people want to work. So we want to, and we want to experience health benefits for our families and give them away to others. So thanks for being here. We'll see you next Monday. That call will be at 9 p.m. Eastern time, and we'll have this recording for you shortly. Thanks, everybody.